this morning I have Eileen, and Eileen is a second year student at Western University, and she's part of Future Fund, and she's going to tell us about Future Fund, and also she's going to share with us some of her concerns as a student, what she has about personal finance, and perhaps what she expects, and any tips or concerns or anything like that she would like to share with us today. So welcome, Eileen, to the Elly interview, and please let everyone know who you are, where you're from, and a little about Future Fund.
Thank you. So my name is Eileen. I'm a second-year student at Western University. So I'm originally from Markham and went to Western last year and live on campus now. So my life has kind of like changed a little, and that has also changed my perception on money. In terms of Future Fund, I'm the communications director, and what that kind of means is I work to help Future Fund's mission of advocating and providing awareness for students around the topic of financial literacy. So what I love about Future Fund is that it's a by youth for youth organization, which means that youth are really people, we are the same people that we are like advocating for, and that really inspired me to be part of the organization because I think we can make a big change.
So when did Future Fund start, and what is its mandate?
Yeah, so Future Fund, I believe, started 4 or 5 years ago from grade 12 students who are now like some of my personal mentors. But their mandate, what we're trying to work towards this year, is really providing advocacy and awareness around the topic of financial literacy. So we don't really want to we're not going to teach you about like financial literacy because there are other people in the industry who are better sorted for that. Yeah. But we really want to provide students with the awareness that financial literacy is an important part of your life, and it shouldn't be something you think of like externally. It should be one of your constant thoughts when you're making decisions and when you're making new lifestyle choices.
Awesome, great. And so you said you're the communications director.
Yes. So I manage basically our social image on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And what my personal goals for this year are to really engage our target audience. So between the ages of 13 and like 21, there's many different variations of the social media platforms that people use, and how do we catch the attention of these people, and how do we really make sure that we get our message across. And that's something that I'm working with my team this year to do, is to increase our following and to really show people why financial literacy is an important component of your life.
So you're not teaching them financial literacy, you just want to make them aware that they need to be aware of
this. For sure.
How is your campaign going? I mean, what do you have running right now?
Yeah, so I just stepped into this role 2 months ago, but as November is Financial Literacy Month, my team and I are kind of creating a campaign to provide some tips, our personal tips. We really want to make it personal for our viewers and show them our personal tips, educate them on why financial literacy is important, and how young people stepping in from high school to university can really adapt to the changing lifestyle choices that they'll have to make, and how finance plays a role in that.
Yeah. So you are a second-year student, which means 3 years ago, you were leaving high school. And in that span of time, how has your perception or concept of money changed? And what are some of your behavioral changes that you made over that span, if any at all?
Yeah, for sure. So in high school, so I told you guys I was from Markham, and I lived in a neighborhood that was pretty middle class. Everyone was pretty well off. So for me and most of my peers around me, it was never a big deal to think about, oh, why I'm spending this, or having to think twice about spending money on food or like a new shirt or something. But moving to university, I live off campus now. I manage most of my own finances. I have to do groceries. I have to consider miscellaneous expenses. And for me, it really kind of has shifted into having that extra step of thinking, is this purchase like relatively needed? Is it going to affect the budget that I'm like working with this month? Is it going to affect what like my lifestyle changes are? And I've really changed kind of like my lifestyle. I really budget, okay, like I'm at school, I have to do this, but I also want to compromise. I don't want to too much compromise my social life with friends, because it's the university's time to like have those fun times with friends. So it has changed over time, because I definitely have that instinct to like, oh my God, do I want to spend this extra dollar? Do I want to do it? So definitely high school to university has been a big transition for me in terms of money.
I think so. If I had to summarize, I think you really understood the difference between need versus want. You actually apply that distinction, not just know it theoretically, because a lot of people, they know that, you know, they don't need certain things, but they just want them, but they don't apply it, right?
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's one of the struggles that, one of the biggest like learning curves that I had to go through, because in high school, it was just like, oh, I kind of want it, I should get it. But in university, it becomes a lot more real that there are other expenses that I have to pay for that are way more important than like the wants I have. So being able to compromise exactly when is a good time to splurge on something that I want, or when is a financially feasible time for me to make that purchase is really important for me to consider now.
So I wanted to ask you, have you gotten any financial advice from friends or family that you took to heart and that you've implemented and has served you well over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so I think one of the pieces of financial advice that someone gave to me like really early on, but I never really took into consideration until university started, was that it's really basic. It's just to save 10% of your income every time you get a paycheck or something. And for me, that I've always had it at the back of my mind, but when I had jobs in high school, I never really thought to save that 10%. And more recently, after my summer jobs and like endeavors that I did, I really noticed that that 10% of savings in my bank account is really providing that cushion for me in case my budgeting is not right, or in case there's a miscellaneous expense that I have to pay for, and that kind of stuff. And it really provides me the financial like security of having that extra money to do what I want with it in case something happens.
That's great. So we're here at UTM, you're over at Western, and if you had to give your UTM cohorts some advice, one tip or two tips that they can start implementing today, what would that be?
I think my first tip would definitely to consider like, is it a need or a want? Like for me, I was talking to you about that a little earlier, but making that distinction in your life will really help budget how you spend your finances a lot better, because wants should never be something that you consistently spend on, and you definitely should compromise some of your budget for it. But I think making sure that you know the distinction between need and want is a really effective way to managing your money and how you approach money to begin with. My second tip would just be to not compromise too much. Like there can be like you should be financially saving however you feel is best for your personal budget and your lifestyle, but there you shouldn't compromise too much so that your lifestyle is completely changed because you want to save that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there has to be a distinction between what you want to do and how you want to go about it so that it doesn't change your entire life fully.
Yeah. It's about striking the right balance, I would imagine.
Yes.
Because the one who dies with the most money doesn't necessarily win. And it's not about just, accumulating money, but living a good life, a life that you can enjoy and be happy with, but being practical at the same time. So we have to find that sort of balance between those two. I must have it versus this is what I actually need to have at this point.
Yeah, very well said.
So thank you so much, Eileen, for taking the time to come on the Elly interview and share your tips